Miss Lizzie. I don't ever smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some ditsies. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to rhyme. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Wow, welcome guys. Miss Liz back in the house. I was here this afternoon with the beautiful Christine Jensen, and we talked about the Wednesday Club, and check out her novel. Tonight we have Daman Grewal in the house, and we're going to be talking about logisticsales.com. That's what we're going to be talking about. But we're also going to be talking about his tea tonight, and his tea is teaching ethical entrepreneurship and empowerment. That is the tea we are serving tonight. But before we get into all of that, we're going to get you guys over to all those platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Lemonade, Clapper, Blue Sky, all those good platforms. Give those a like, follow, subscribe, and get those tea times out there, because they do make a difference for the guest and for listeners that resonate with the topics. Also, jump over to the podcast apps, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Listen Notes, and Spotify, and all the other ones that I haven't mentioned. Miss Liz is on all of those as well. And then jump over to babyboomers.org. If you're looking to be featured on different podcasts and something that Miss Liz doesn't bring to the table for you, you can get yourself featured on over 50 different podcasts on babyboomers.org. And Miss Liz is partnered up with them. So check them out as well. They have some incredible podcasters out on that platform that serve all walks of life. So check that out. Let's get started with the disclaimer and then a beautiful intro. And then we're going to get Damien in here and we're going to spill some tea and have some fun tonight. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicating to sharing real life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. I'm Miss Liz is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own good judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners' and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of the discussion, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly at my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com, or check out my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. I, Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect your wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you're ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Well, welcome to Tea Time with Miss Liz, where conversations remind us that knowledge becomes truly powerful when it's shared, accessible, and used to create opportunities for others. Today's guest is helping bridge the gap between education and real-world success by proving practical skills that people can immediately apply to their careers, businesses, and everyday lives. Please join me in welcoming Daman Grewal, entrepreneur, educator, mentor, and co-founder of the logisticsales.com, a global free educational platform dedicating to teaching practical skills in business, entrepreneurship, sales, communications, job searching, and professional development. Born and raised in Sorel, British Columbia, Canada, Damien and his team created logisticsales.com with one clear mission: making high-quality, real-world education available to everyone, regardless of background, location, and financial circumstances. His work focuses on empowering learners with the tools, confidence, and knowledge needed to navigate today's rapidly changing professional landscape. His T is teaching, ethic, entrepreneurship, empowerment. Three words that share his story: struggle, awareness, and mentorship. Today's Tea Time will explore entrepreneurship and business growth, practical education for real world success, ethic, leadership, and entrepreneurship, mentorship, and personal development, creating opportunities through knowledge. Daman reminds us that education should not be limited by geographic, finances, or circumstances. Sometimes all someone needs is access to the right information at the right time. So grab your cup and join us for a conversation filled with insight, opportunity, growth, and real life tea, truth, experience, and awareness. So let me get Damien in here and spill some tea. Welcome, Damien.
Thank you, Liz, for having me. Appreciate everyone watching today, and hopefully we have some great questions from the audience. So I really want this to be interactive if we can make it, and welcome anyone to ask any questions that you may have.
Absolutely. Well, let's get started with getting to know you a little bit, Damien, before we get into logistics sales. Who was Damien as a little guy, and who's Damien now?
Still a little guy. So basically, I just enjoy teaching people, educating people, helping people along their journey. And that's really how we came about with logistics sales. We realized, again, there was so much demand of people wanting to learn, and so many people that entrusted myself and my team to teach their children, to teach themselves, and to educate people out there. So that's kind of where we came up with a platform to say, okay, there's a lot of demand for this. Let's try to get it out there for everybody. And we wanted to do it free because we were doing it free anyways before. We were teaching people within our company. And we just said, okay, here, let's create a platform because we can't hire everybody, but we could definitely be able to share the education with everybody that may require it. And sometimes we realize that people aren't always ready to take that next step, whether that's a sales opportunity, a business opportunity, but putting the real information out there was what's really important for us, and to do it in a way where people can actually feel aligned with themselves, not to a place where they're doing something that's really stretching their values or really stretching maybe their business ethics or work ethics, but to do it in a way that actually felt good to them and really take out the negativity that's associated sometimes with sales. And so we really want to put the truth out there, let people explore it for themselves, and open up their mindsets to allow more opportunities back in their lives. And really want to let anyone know that anyone can do this. And that's something that I learned as a young child, was there's opportunities and there's choices that we can make along our journey. And so we want to share that with everybody else.
So when you were a little guy, were you always looking for different opportunities? Were you that kid that was out in the neighborhood looking for little jobs and fields? And
so I grew up a little bit different. We grew up with financial assistance. I grew up with a single parent household. So it wasn't always easy. It was more about survival at that point. And I was very limited to working for jobs because my mom didn't want to lose that financial assistance that we had. It was kind of like a safety net, even though she was working 2 full-time jobs. And so for me, it was just, there was a hunger inside to want to work and prove myself and to get out of the situation that we were in. So it was more just a work ethic that was always inside of me that I saw through my mom, through the jobs that she did, to say, okay, hey, one day I'll have my opportunity to work. And then I didn't really picture entrepreneurship as a pathway for me. I never thought that was even possible for me, or it was never even a thought. It was always get a job, work hard, and work your way up the ladder.
So Damien, how did you come up with the name Logistics Sales?
Our background is, a lot of it has to do with transportation, logistics. I've been doing that since about the late 90s. And so, yeah, almost 30 years now, 28 maybe years that I've been involved in the industry. Again, it opened us up to a lot of different corporations, a lot of different types of businesses, geographic locations. And so we figured that it might be a fitting name because logistics is the movement of goods from point A to point B, and whether that's locally in our community or globally around the world. And we just thought it would be a fitting name for our entrepreneurship and sales opportunities education platform to call it Logistics Sales.
So what did growing up without mentorship shape your mission today? How did that shape the mission?
Yeah. So growing up, I always wished somebody would show me the ropes, as I kind of had to go through so many different hardships to find an actual pathway where I could be financially free in life, or even have opportunities to move up the ladder. And so I didn't really know how to do that. And I was really confused growing up, just hoping, hey, would somebody, please show me this pathway of how to, build that house, or how to get, some sort of success my way. So I had, people in my life that were doing different types of businesses, but nobody was willing to teach. It just seemed like everybody was in their own silo and you're just watching it from the outside, but you don't know how to get in. And then because I didn't have the financial resources as well, I put that as a block for myself. I didn't realize, Tony Robbins talks about it's not the resources that you have, but how resourceful can you be? And so just realizing that, I didn't need financial backing. I didn't need a lot of the things that I thought that I needed to get into business. And that again, these opportunities were available for everybody. So not having that mentorship, then going through that journey myself and realizing, okay, here's a pathway, and here's a pathway that I could teach other people that can apply to so many businesses across the board, because every business has to have a sales department. Whether you're fundraising, whether you're doing a charity, whether any part of it, somebody has to drive sales to come into that business for that business to survive. And so again, realizing that, this brought opportunities with it. And there was limited opportunities, but there was opportunities that could be opened up. And that's what I really wanted to teach people, is that, hey, if we're just stuck on one side of it, and anyone doing customer service is doing sales. And so just realizing that it was such a simple skill of communication or customer service that could actually bring value to you, and, to create these value opportunities where you can earn from. That's what I wanted to teach people and say, hey, you know what? You might even be doing this, but you just didn't realize how to monetize it. And let me show you. And then let me also teach entrepreneurs how to open up and grow their businesses and make them survivable, and give opportunities to other people as well, so they can grow their own businesses and survive, mainly.
Absolutely. And you know why I always ask the children's question is because that's our push in life, right? Because we always seem to do the opposite when we grow up. Like if we're silent as a child, then we become speakers. If we couldn't write a story or had trouble writing in school, we become writers. There's always the opposite side. And you showed that, there was nobody mentoring. There was nobody giving you that pathway. So you had to teach it yourself. You had to learn it yourself. So then today, as an adult, that's what you're doing. You're coming to the table and you're saying, you know what? It's possible. And you mentioned that you were raised on financial situation as with your mom, as a single mom. There's so many moms out there. I was a single mom as well with 3 kids, and you're scared to get ahead, and you're scared to let your children grow because you're scared of the outcome as well. So did your mom have that fear? Like, oh my goodness, my son has this ethic motivation in him that he's going to make a difference. He's going to go further. Was she afraid of that? How far and determined you were?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, a lot of parents are afraid for their children to get hurt. And that's really what that comes down to, is there's a protectionism that they want to do. And even again, when I get into my business ventures, my mom is still that way. Like, hey, save your money. You can, I don't want you to lose anything. And so there's
that's a mama bear thing.
Yeah. And so and then even when we were younger, right, it wasn't, it was like she had to be extra strict because she wanted to make sure that she raised good children. So, again, not allowing us to work, not allowing us to do things after school hours, unless it was sports related or, again, anything educational related. But she was very protective that way. But again, that just built more hunger to do even better when we got those opportunities.
That's what I mean. That's what I wanted from you. It builds hunger, right? So for my listeners out there, if your mom is that mama bear that, that's scared, you got a hunger in you, and you're going to give your mom a little bit of white hair, a little bit of gray hair. As you can see, I got 3 kids that give me that gray hair. Damien, we have a question here for you from Francis, and it is, Damien, what does building opportunity through education and entrepreneurship personally mean to you?
I think personally it means that we could free people from this mindset, this scarcity mindset that we're talking about, is showing people that we could build this through like educating people. Again, if it's a mama bear mentality and we're scarce, and we hear that story about even Mr. Beast when he started first making money, or he was trying to get into the YouTube game, the mom was like, no, focus on the education, focus on your education. It was all about education because that's the programs that they grew up with. But now imagine if Mr. Beast only focused on education. Would he be able to earn what he's earning today? Would he have been able to earn those opportunities that he's been able to create today? And again, be able to give back so much to society. So I realized that through education and awareness, we can start looking and saying, hey, these opportunities are available to everybody. It's not just limited to, the select few, but again, it's all around us if we just open up our awareness. And so that's the first step that we try to teach. The second one is we try to show you where those opportunities are and give you the skill sets to be able to take advantage of them. And so we want to be able to take people through that journey so there's no fear in it. And when we can take away the fear, we take away the blocks. And so, again, my mom also had these scarcity mindsets where if I were to still be in that, that paradigm where she was kind of protecting us, then there's no way I would ever be able to build a business in the first place.
Yeah.
And even if I built one and there's businesses where I failed at, but again, it's that ability to get back up and try it again and learn from any mistakes that we're going through. And again, we had to break through those cycles, the cycles of being held back. I was just watching the Michael Jackson movie as well. And, there was a time where he had to break away from his parents too, where his dad was trying to hold him back and say, hey, this is a group thing that we're doing. You can't do this solo career. And so they was putting limitations on it. And there's a fear, right? There's a fear that I spent so much effort and time into raising all these kids that I don't want to teach separation, but the separation led to excellence. That separation led to, a world artist that's got a legacy that's massive, that's behind them. And so when we realize that, hey, why are we limiting each other? Why aren't we encouraging each other to grow and to flower and to bloom? And so again, it's that education format, or that, again, teaching people that if we just change that mindset, we can actually encourage people and help them grow. And that's, again, what mentors really do, is they see the talent within somebody and expose what's inside of them so we can watch that come out of people, whatever talent that may be.
What does ethic entrepreneurship mean to you, Daman?
Doing the way that your conscience is proud of you and the way that you could face yourself in the mirror tomorrow and feel good about what you do. And so, the contrast here is like the Wolf of Wall Street type of sales, where you may be selling in a way that somebody may not need what you're selling, or maybe you don't believe in what you're doing, but you're doing it anyways. And so ethical business or ethical entrepreneurship, ethical sales is all about something that's in alignment with you, where you're actually out there to serve people in a way that we're actually there to help people get through situations, give them exactly what they're looking for and not what we think is best, but what's best for them. And really flipping that, kind of like that doctor mentality where you're there to prescribe medicine or just help somebody get through a tough situation so they could get better and become better. And because, that's the way that if we want to be treated that way, we don't want to be hustled. We don't want to go through those difficult situations. Then why should we put anyone else through that? Whether you're a supervisor, a leader, a teacher, a parent, nurture people in a way that feels good to them. And again, where we could face ourselves in the mirror tomorrow and be proud of the life that we lived. And I believe, running businesses in that way, I saw it as a formula where every time we acted in those type of ways, which was again ethical, taking care of the customer, taking care of employees, and making sure like we're putting the proper training in, we got the proper systems in, we're supporting people in a situation, not bringing them down. But when we do that in a way where we're creating these win-win situations or partnerships, then the businesses would flourish. And so, that's what I mean. It may not always be the easiest road, but long-term, it's a formula for success.
Do you use a lot of mentorship during your teaching through the systems?
Whether you call it mentorship, whether you just call it teaching, educating, there's multiple words for the same thing. I mean, any parent could be called a mentor as well because it's who the kids are modeling when they're growing up. So again, there's a term for mentor, but again, a mentor is just someone that you look up to, someone that you um, trust, right? That could lead you in a direction, and someone that you maybe respect, right? So again, that's all that is. But it's someone, a voice that you can listen to help you get through that next part of your life and get through a difficult situation to move forward into where you're supposed to be going.
So, Damian, we have a question here from Rick, and it's what inspired you to become so passionate about mentorship?
Because I went through a lot of difficult situations, right? That was one of the big things for me is I had so many bad situations happen at work where I would put, 110% into a lot of the businesses I was working for, and just always to get, to fall short at the end. And whether it was people that weren't being truthful to me, or I felt like people in the organization were being disrespected. But any times that I saw that there was unethical behavior, it just led me to say, like, that's not the right way to do business. And I would always stand up for the person that was being put down. I would always stand up for, again, protecting rights of people that were in the right. And again, in a truthful way, in a way where, you show compassion for each other, and you say, I'll give you an example of like one of my old bosses, and he would always, come down on people and say, hey, like, don't you have common sense? Like, you should have known that. And I was always sitting in the background and saying, well, it's not really common sense unless we train somebody in that aspect. And then because now they know what to do in that scenario, now it should be common sense, but not unless we haven't trained them. And so just, little things like that, where I would just feel like, people would be taken advantage of for no reason, or people would be put down for no reason, and it wasn't any fault of their own. I would always try to stand up for those people. And so realizing even in business, there was a lot of people that would come up to myself, and I was in transportation, and people would, like, the way that they would get ahead in business is by stealing each other's customers. And I was like looking at that and like, why would you do that? Like, that's, again, there's better ways to do this. There's so many customers out there. Why do you need to take it from somebody else? Right? Or why do you need to follow around someone else's drivers and trucks and equipment to to figure out where they're delivering loads, where they're picking up loads? Like, all you gotta do is look at any warehouse that has a dock level door and know that that's a possible customer, or look up any office building and knock on any door and realize that if it's a corporation, yeah, they might have some business for you. So again, people's limited mindsets, they always, I saw that a lot of that growing up too. So I said, okay, well, let's teach it in a proper way where you're not harming anybody. Again, going back to like business ethics, where you can face yourself in the mirror and feel good about what you do. If you're just taking from other people to bring to yourself, how good are you going to feel about that? And so just teaching people that there's a different way to do business was important for me to say, okay, hey, again, do it in a way where you can feel good. Do it in a way where you're in alignment and really bettering people's lives and not harming anybody along the way.
I always tell my kids, don't dim someone else's light just to make your light shine brighter. Because in the end, you're not getting anywhere in life. You're actually putting yourself down lower. Work together and teamwork, like, collaborations, connection. Do you do a lot of collaborations with other companies?
100%. Yeah, that's a part of business in general. So networking, again, you have to support other organizations. You have to support their businesses. And, the funny part is, like, a lot of people that I helped even start their businesses are places where I actually got jobs from at a later place, or those are all the people that helped me build my business when it came to my turn to build my business. So yeah, I mean, that's just part of like being in service. If there's a skill set that we have or something that we've learned that we could help other people with, there's a way that it comes around, and we don't know sometimes until years later. Yeah. And again, it's just you're building that trust, you're building, planting those seeds that one day may flourish. And again, if you put good out in the world, you're probably gonna get good back at some point.
Well, and going back to the people that helped you in the beginning, like, before you became big, and going back, that shows a lot of integrity. It shows a lot of true leadership in a person as well, because that person taught you to be a leader within yourself. And then you went back to teach that leader that he could still be a leader, so it's the full circle, the full come around, right? We have a question here and a comment. It's surreal. British Columbia seems to have shaped your journey. Are there lessons from your hometown that still guide you today?
I say in a global way that, again, if we learn to love thy neighbors and if we learn how to respect our neighbors, I mean, that's the greatest thing that we have is our communities, is our environment. And if we choose to look at it in a positive light, then we're going to receive positivity in our life. And that's, I think, the biggest takeaway lesson is that there's so many opportunities all around us that I think we just need to be aware of it and open up to it. There's somebody in every single community that's willing to lift you up. And I think a lot of it just starts with our own mindset and that belief. Like, how do we find that for ourselves first, right? And a mentor can help us maybe after we made that mindset switch to say that, hey, I'm willing to walk out of this. I'm willing to start changing my mindset to look for these opportunities. And so when we start looking for these opportunities is when they actually start coming into our life. And because we have to be able to recognize them. They're always there. But if we don't recognize it, then we're not going to know that these opportunities even exist. And, for example, like how many times have you driven outside on your street or your neighborhood and you've paid attention to all the businesses that might be around you? Have you ever thought about, okay, should I connect with some of these business owners? And even on Google Maps, like you could scroll out on Google Maps and you're going to realize that how many small businesses are operating right from those households that are in your neighborhood. And you'll start seeing the company names pop up on the homes. They may be accountants, they may be graphic designers, they may be into wedding planning, or there's so many different types of companies that are just operating from their homes. And you just start realizing, wow, like there's a lot of people around here doing some sort of business. So you start opening yourself up when you start getting curious, when you start asking questions. And so that can happen in any environment. And so they say, our environment is what shapes us. But again, if we're not aware of that environment or again pay attention to it, then we're going to miss it. It's like sometimes like people talk about, when you get a brand new car, whether it's like a Honda Civic or something, and then you start noticing that there's so many other ones on the road, or like a Tesla, right? There's a certain color Tesla that you like, and then you start seeing it so many different places. So our awareness is directly related to how we think and how we operate. And if we are thinking differently or we put that into our conscience, then we're going to start seeing it.
I like that you said that awareness is how we operate, because I when I go for a walk or something, I look and I say, oh, there's a new business here. How come I didn't know about this business? Or I wonder what this business is about. And sometimes the names will fool me. I think it's a food restaurant, and it's not. It's a health wellness restaurant or center or something like that. There's a new one that just opened up in Cornwall here called Popeyes. And I thought it was chicken, but it wasn't Popeyes chicken. It was wellness. It's spinach, it's vitamins, it's to get going. But if you don't look around and you're not aware of what's in your community, what's around your surroundings, you're not going to grow. You're not going to see things, and you're not going to have that approach, to go and knock on the door and say, hey, can you tell me a little bit about your business? Mm-hmm. I know when I was fundraising, we always had to go and get like donations and stuff like that for events, right? And then I'd knock on the door and then I'd find out about the business and I'd be like, oh, well, I want to come back after the fundraiser and know a little bit more about this business after I get and I'm just like, the donations sometimes are surprising as well, because some small businesses will give bigger donations to events that they're not aware of it either. So it's like a reverse circle, right? We go back to that circle again. When we know each other and we knock on each other's neighbors and we get to know the community, then we grow all together. You talk about systems and skills. What systems and skills do you teach? Because your platform is a free educational platform. So tell us a little bit about that, Damien.
Sure. I mean, we kind of go over a wide range of skill sets. One is just, again, searching for opportunities, understanding what these opportunities really are. Secondly, we start building the skill sets, whether that's even, employment opportunities. How do we even find jobs? How do we start talking to these types of companies? And two things that you mentioned, Liz, was when you start opening up and start speaking to corporations, again, you just mentioned that one is that people are so willing to share information. And secondly, people are willing to give. So we realize that, okay, hey, entrepreneurs that have gone through this journey want to share that information with people. They want to be able to give back to their communities because they're so thankful that they learned it, right? And you'll see this gratitude that comes from a lot of these business owners of the position that they were put in and again, being in a situation to be able to give back. And so we realize that that's the truth. And so, again, we teach people about how those opportunities exist all around them. But then we also back it up with the skill sets. Again, how do we do phone sales? How do we do networking? How do we do emails? What does that structure look like? How do we do the proper research before we even contact people? What does the follow-up system look like? Marketing, we have like building a personal brand. So there's so many of these things that are kind of key nowadays, whether it's technology or building AI into our systems. There's so many things that we're teaching across the board that, again, we just say, come take a look. 110 episodes that we have, over 18 modules. There's a lot of information that we kind of put out there in small segments. Again, it's not the fast-paced social media style, but it's education-based where, you probably have to sit down for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. And there's worksheets that go along with each episode that we want to encourage people to download and to be able to go through, that activity book and say, okay, what can I take away from this lesson? What action plan can I put into place? And even small steps, right? It doesn't have to be anything major. But again, we just say, find the episodes that kind of resonate to you to see what you want to do and what you want to try. And there's so many different things that you can learn, right? We try to make it fun, a little bit entertaining, but again, it is education. So it's not going to be that fast-paced social media style.
Well, and education can be fun. You can have a little bit of fun with it, but you also have to tone it down, right? To educate, like to slow the mind down so that the learning process can take form. Damien, why do you think people are scared of sales?
I think there's this a fear of rejection is the first one. That fear of being judged, and so I think just what we try to do is take that away in the first couple episodes and really teach people the truth about sales. Like, sales doesn't have to be that Wolf of Wall Street type of sales. It could be, again, we're providing solutions to people and helping them with, whether it's their business, whether it's their personal lives, but really when it's something that we do out of service. And so when we reframe it into saying, hey, how can we be in service to the people around us? So if there is a new business that's opening down the street, how can I help that person? Right. So again, looking and saying, what skill sets do I have? Am I able to hand out flyers door to door? Am I able to, again, assist them in any which way that I can? Can I write an email? Can I take a photo? Can I, do I have any of these skill sets? So sales and marketing are in so many different formats. So we're trying to open up people to that idea of saying, it's not strictly having to go door to door and knock on someone's door and sell them something they don't want. But again, how do we do this in a simple way where we're just helping one another? And that's it. We want to break it down into very simple concepts. So you're not making a mountain out of a molehill. And that's what I think a lot of people do is they have all these high numbers in their mind. And they think that, okay, if I get into sales, like now I have to be making $1 million a year or it's not worth it. Or, even if you're thinking like right away, you're going to get into 6 figures. Well, it's all small steps first. Right? Try something small, build the skill, and then go bigger, right? Depending on where you are, you could start at any level and just take that next step. And, again, start with that mind frame of just saying, how can I help somebody? And, if you come at it from that place where you want to be in service, that's where it all starts.
Absolutely.
There's a fact right now that LinkedIn put out and some other agencies put out as well. But they say like 70 to even 85% of jobs right now, you cannot get through the traditional way of just handing out resumes. It's through networking, it's through volunteering, it's through some sort of relationship building. And these are the skills that we're teaching through our program as well. So it's not only to get into sales, not only to get into entrepreneurship, but we realize how important these communication skills are to help us in multiple avenues of our life. And so that's what we really want to teach people is, there's a saying, you have not because you haven't asked, or you have not because you asked not. Steve Harvey talks about that quite often, but I think it's from the Bible. And he says, again, if we haven't learned how to ask for anything in our lives, then how are we going to move forward? Right.
Absolutely.
So that includes learning how to ask for a raise with your employer, is learning to ask for different opportunities that if you want to grow, again, how can I be in service to be able to grow and better myself so I could earn more or do more, and then learning how to communicate that in a way where it's a win-win situation for you and your employer, right? So again, looking and saying, okay, is there opportunities that exist within here or can I go create these opportunities from my environment or anywhere around me? So again, we're trying to open up that mindset to allow those opportunities to come in for people to really grow.
And it's true because they look and see if you volunteer. A lot of jobs now are looking to see if you volunteer or you do networking because they want to see your people skills, right? They don't want to just see all the degrees and all the certificates. They want to see if you're an actual person to person. So when there comes an issue or there's some kind of conflict or something like that, you can engage with another person. A lot of people are noticing on LinkedIn that volunteering on your resume is a good thing to put on there. And it doesn't hurt you to volunteer in your community or, in the schools or libraries or stuff like that. Just get out there and get to know your community because you're also bringing awareness of your community to yourself as well. So we have a question here from Todd, and it's, Damien, how do you measure impact when thousands of people may benefit from your educational platforms?
I think impact is just helping one person. I mean, we don't have to say impact is helping the entire globe, but hey, can we start with one person at a time? And I believe that energy transfers. So if our goal always is, hey, if we could just impact one person in this lifetime, then that's a win. Anything else is a bonus. So again, why put that pressure on ourselves, right? Again, it's to say, okay, well, for me, even putting out logistics sales, our goal is to eventually get with other educators that want to take our materials and hopefully educate people around the world with it. And for me, it's like I just need one person to grab onto it. And for me, it's like if I can get it into one school system, I can get into one community and then be able to assist, with the actual operational aspect of what we do, because we are operators and we do have businesses, to be able to share that with the younger community or anybody of any age. And then, the other part of it is just providing like a stress-free environment for people, where a lot of people are looking at social media right now. For us, it's saying, okay, can I put out something truthful? And the impact is just, again, for me, myself and my conscience inside is just saying, hey, can I just put this out in a truthful way to be able to encourage people, love people? Again, even if I just put that out there and people know that there's someone else out there that cares about them and it's willing to invest into their future and doesn't want anything in return, and that's why it's for free. I want to show people that, hey, there's people like that are out there in this world. It's not only me, but it's several people. It's my business partners. It's people like you, Liz. It's people that genuinely want to see people do well in life and people that want to put back love into people because we want to build better communities. And so just us knowing that, that impact is changing our lives internally, is showing us that, hey, let's operate from a good, place. Let's hope that other people will see us as, someone that they could adopt and also, be like, hey, I want to help my community. Or, hey, maybe I'm a business leader in my community. How can I give back? And maybe we can create these type of partnerships where we can start lifting people up. And so impact can happen from one place. It can happen from ourselves. Again, if we're doing positive steps, we're emitting a different energy and we're walking around knowing at least that we were willing to take what has been given to us and share it with other people.
Well, a lot of people look at the word free as you don't believe in your business. I get that all the time. Miss Liz, why do you do it for free? I believe in my business. I believe that it's a service for others. And that service is reverse. It comes back because word of mouth for a good service will give another person, another person, another person. And then you become the ripple effect, But we look at words so directly in life, in society, that when you say free, people think you don't believe in your business, but that's not true. We believe in our business a lot more than the people that are charging sometimes because we put more passion into it, more purpose into it, and more determination in behind. And we look for the loopholes that nobody else is looking for because we know it's free, but we don't want it to be free forever. We wanted to make that fun. We want the profit to come, but we got to build that relationship first with the people in the community.
And Liz, the other thing that we kind of mentioned earlier in the show too is when I talked about the different business leaders that I helped build their businesses or even help them set up their businesses, I did it for free. And I never had any expectation that it was going to come back around. But again, one of those businesses was one that gave me a job after I helped him, build his business. And, at the time I had, again, looking for opportunities. And that was the one person that I thought I'd go ask. And he's like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, my business is built now. It was a couple of years later. And he said, yeah, come on board. And the second one, there's another one where I helped build it. The person was not successful, but then he came back and started working for me. But then we built his business from there. And again, it was things that I wasn't really expecting. And it was just places where I was just willing to, teach people or mentor people. And it always came back in different ways. It's ways that we can't even think of. Like, I didn't think I was going to own his business after teaching him about how to run his business. But then I ended up owning that business, and it ended up doing really well for me. It got me to, we hit the profit 500, the growth 500. We got a lot of this success, and, all this stuff that was inside of me got to come out, where I was like, I held back in my sales journey. Oh, now we get another chance to do this properly. And so, yeah, I mean, so many things came back full circle, and and it was just not having expectations. It was about volunteering and helping people. And yeah, I mean, the universe has such weird ways to bring it back to us that we can't even possibly think of ourselves, right? I mean, those situations that I was in, there's no way that I would have had that in my mind when I was helping those people.
Absolutely. And those expectations sometimes ruin your business because you put yourself so high up on the ladder that when you fail, you don't know how to accept that failure. When failing is actually a lesson, it gives you those stepping stools, right? Like you said, Damien, at the beginning of the show, take the small steps. The small steps lead to the bigger steps. It's just like a baby learning how to crawl and walk. They got to crawl first before they can walk, and then they walk, and then they talk. And, it's baby steps. And that's what a business is all about too, is building that business and the business steps, building that relationship, building that trust between each other, right? We have a question here about mentorship from Brandon. Does mentorship look different today compared to 10 years ago?
I think it depends on who's looking. So again, there's mentors out there, but there's a lot of people that want to get rich quick. And so when you see that, there's a lot of people that are willing to take advantage of that. So again, it's looking and saying, okay, well, what does mentorship to me really look like? Ask yourself that question first. What do I want? What are the qualities I'm looking for in a mentor? Am I looking for the get rich quick scheme? Or am I looking for truth, reality? Am I willing to put in the work to get to a certain outcome? So again, it's saying, okay, when we can respect the person that's speaking, that's where mentorship starts. It's like, okay, whose advice do I want to follow? And do I want to, again, which aspect am I listening to it at? Am I listening to it for my selfish purposeness, where I'm just looking for certain, like, hey, just tell me it's okay to do sales and sell to anybody? Or is it, hey, I'm willing to go through the entire step of researching, and making sure that I provide the best service possible. And I'm really going to take care of the people that I sell to. Again, doing it in a way that's very ethical, where I'm going to feel in alignment and feel really good about what I'm doing. Sure, it may be a little bit harder, but am I willing to go through this pathway to do it properly? It's kind of like the wax on, wax off. If you ever watched, the Karate Kid, in the beginning, he's like, what are you making me do? We're just doing wax on and wax off. But then again, the real thing is that we're building, strength, we're building character, and then we're building reflexes. So when the time and situation comes, now we're ready for it, instead of jumping into something that we may not know what we're getting into. So again, there's a process for everything. And if we understand that, that's where, again, mentorship is, the right, kind of the same thing that we would have seen 10 years ago. Because again, Mr. Miyagi taught that really well, right? But again,
and that was what, back in the 80s?
Yeah. Time flies, right? But again, it's looking at that and saying, okay, well, is that what mentorship looks like? Or what does mentorship look like for me? And again, making sure that, you choose, right? It's not something that I want to put out there and say, hey, I'm the right mentor for you, but what are you looking for? And again, does that behavior match when I'm looking for that mentor? Again, does it come in a way where I have to pay for that mentorship, or can I get it for free? So many different types of mentors out there. Again, mentors can be our parents. Mentors can be people that have done anything that we're trying to achieve. So that's willing to share that information with you. Again, how they share that information with you is also something that I would question, right? Are they telling me all the steps? Are they missing the steps? Is there something that doesn't seem right to me? Is there something that, again, people might just be able to tell you the outcome, but they forget about where they started that journey. And so again, knowing the right mentorship is kind of difficult to find sometimes. Again, you can find that through business coaches. You can find that through, again, anyone that's done something before. But you really want to see, okay, what that alignment is. And, just like I hear this when people go to counselors, sometimes not every counselor is going to match up to your life situations or your journey. But again, finding someone that can relate to you really well and your communication style is going to work best for you.
Absolutely, right? It's finding the right person that's going to work together. If one business doesn't work for you, there's always another one. And if you're a good business person and you know that your business is not going to work for somebody, and the other business across the street is going to work, refer that person and say, you know what, I think across the street might be what you're looking for. There's nothing wrong with showing and showcasing other businesses and saying, you know what, I don't offer what you need, but that person does. Because that's how the community grows. That's how businesses grow. And that's how business partnerships grow, because you're referring one another, you're recommending one another. You can say, you know what, this is not what I need, but that person across the street has what you need, or the next town over has what you need, and that's what real business and leadership is all about. We have a question here from Russian. What skill do you believe every entrepreneur should learn first?
Communication skills. That's probably the biggest one. Learn how to communicate. Again, learn how to listen, because if you can listen to your customers, you can listen to your employees and really digest that information to see what do these people really want. And again, because if we realize that when we're in the service game, regardless of whatever product or business service offering that we're doing, we're in the service game to make people's lives better. And so just realizing, okay, if I have a proper feedback loop and I can listen to people and I can communicate answers and problem solve along that journey, then you're going to have a very successful business. That's probably quality number one. Number two, know your numbers.
It all goes back to numbers, guys.
Yeah.
It always goes back to numbers. And it's not only financial numbers. Know your numbers. Know your quotas. Know numbers, because there's so much different numbers in the business world. We have a question that just came in is, why do you believe financial success is within people's control?
Can you repeat that question one more time?
Why do you believe financial success is within people's control?
Because it's a mindset shift. That's all it is. It's the moment that you think something is possible for you and you can see it in your mind, then it becomes possible. If you can't see it, it probably won't happen. And so that's why, again, we try to break it down very simply within our episodes to show you that this is possible for anyone and everyone. And we've actually worked with people around the world. And so when we worked with people around the world, a lot of people we had to, and this is what I've been doing for the last 25 plus years, is helping people eliminate their mental blocks. That's the only thing that stops people from really getting successful. And we had people, whether it's in countries like Bangladesh, Dubai, or there was different countries in Africa, Tunisia, Kenya, and we were teaching these people how to work within the North American markets. They were contacting corporations, they were contacting multi-billion-dollar corporations and able to set up meetings, and people took them seriously. They were able to, work in those markets, but they had to break all those beliefs that they had before. They had to know that it was possible for them to do so. And these people did it with very limited English skills. And so when we realized that, it's not the education, it's not where you live, it's not what financial background you have, it's your willingness to overcome a fear, to realize that, hey, I'm made, in the creator's eyes as a valuable person or a valuable asset to, this planet. And so when you believe in that, hey, you're here for a reason, you're here for a purpose. And if there's something inside of you, it's there for a reason. When we start believing this inner voice of ours, we're going to realize where it's actually guiding us to, but we have to eliminate any blocks. And so when we eliminate the blocks, then you become free as an individual. That's where stress starts leaving your life, is when you become free. You still don't realize, again, you could allow teachers to hold you down. You could allow managers and supervisors to hold you down. You could allow any person in your life to hold you down. But it's until you realize that you're the person that's in control of your life and not anybody else. Now that's that mindset shift that's going to get you into financial freedom. That's going to show you that anything that you think of in your life is possible. and start with something small, right? Is it possible for me to walk down the street and talk to a business owner? Is it possible for me to talk to my neighbor and see what they actually do? Like, start small. It doesn't have to be big.
Absolutely. Get to know your neighbor.
Exactly. How many people don't know what their neighbor really does? Or,
Let's talk a little bit about logistics sales. You offer some free training beyond borders and scholarships as well. So let's talk about a little bit about what people can find when they go to the website, Damien.
For sure. Yeah. You get a basic overview of what we do, maybe why we do it. You get to know a little bit about us as the founders for the program. And we just want to encourage kids to come aboard. I mean, sometimes we don't have large scholarships, but it's just something that we're doing out of our good faith, and just say, hey, it's just like when we want to spread love to somebody, and we just say, hey, come with it, come with us on this journey. And if there's something that we can help you with, whether it's through scholarships or whether it's through the education, we just want to support people to show you that it's possible. And again, the whole reason is to let people know that we're there and we care about them and that we want to see them succeed. And so we're willing to back it up with, our financial resources. We're willing to back it up with our time. We're just trying to pour into you so you become a good person and you could do it hopefully for somebody else.
And some of the services that you offer is sales, skills, logistics, marketing, and operations. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, just the basic building foundation of building a successful career or a successful business. So we just want to open up people and just let them know, and whatever barriers they think business is or whatever barriers they think sales is, we just want to break it down to say these are just basic skills. It may sound like they're technical. Well, operations, whoa, what does the operation manager really do? They just take care of a business. Like, I mean, don't don't make it massive. We'll break down the small parts of it so you could actually understand it and actually be able to walk through that journey, so that you realize that again, like we can make these false narratives about what a manager really is, and can I ever be one, or what special job does somebody really do. But when we realize, okay, it's just a bunch of skill sets that they need, what leadership skills, communication skills, problem solving skills, again, can you fix a Wi-Fi connection to to your computer, right? I mean, some of these are just very basic skills. But again, we're trying to put you into the mindset of what these people actually do, what they go through, so you know how to communicate to them. So if that's your boss right now, how do you communicate with your boss? Do you understand what they're going through, what their role is in that business? So again, the more things that we understand, or the more departments that we're able to see within that organization, then we're getting exposure to things that we may not necessarily get exposure to. So we want you to see it from the other side as well, so you can have better relationships. And when you have better relationships, you can have better outcomes because you can understand each other. And so that's all we're really trying to put out there, is say, hey, we'll kind of take you through this journey. But if there's anything that you want to go deeper into, yeah, we'll teach you how to get maybe some of that experience. We'll teach you some of the basic skill sets, but the rest, again, it's up to you to say, okay, well, do I want to go to school for this? Do I want to get a mentor in a certain area? Do I want to dive deeper into this? What do I want? And so that's what we're really trying to get you to by exposing you to all the different steps, right? And just say, okay, well, if we're, for example, looking for a raise with an employer and I want to get into sales opportunities because I see the unlimited potential that I can get into. So how do I create that opportunity for myself? Well, one is I can start learning about what that really entails. I can learn about, okay, hey, can I open up my mind to see who the business that I'm working at, who are their true customers? Do I even know like where those customers are or how to find them? Well, we'll teach you that. And so again, when we start teaching you again how to find this and how to research this, then it's just making you smarter as an individual. And again, we're giving you some of those resources. We're getting into that right mindset where you can start now having those conversations and even create opportunities for yourself, where sometimes those opportunities don't exist because you don't even know that these things even exist.
Absolutely. On your website, I found skills create confidence, confidence creates opportunity, and opportunity creates freedom. I really like that. Is that part of your mission for your business?
100%. Yeah. When you're informed about a situation, for example, like if we're crossing the border for the first time in our lives, or we're flying to a new destination, it could be a very scary thing to go through. Even sometimes when we start a new school, we don't really know what to expect. But the more information you have about that situation or that location, when you're informed, you're a lot more confident walking through and saying, oh, okay, I know what's going to happen here. I've been through the situation before. Or, hey, I have the knowledge now that I don't have to be afraid, because people that don't have knowledge are usually afraid of what's on the other side. But, again, you can walk into a dark room, and if you don't know what's in there, you're going to be extra cautious. But now if you go into a room with the lights on, imagine how confident you're going to be. And that's the same thing that information does for us when we move forward in life. The more we have and the more that we understand it, our confidence levels go up. If you know how to communicate with somebody, if you know how to ask for that raise, right? There's so many people that in life, they just wait for other people to move them ahead in life. And they think, that's what I thought in the beginning, first half of my life, is I thought, okay, I'm just going to work hard. And, or, whether I was in school, okay, I'm going to allow the teacher to give me whatever grade they want. And sometimes it was just not even based on, proper numbers. It was based on what they thought that they wanted to give me for a grade. And I would just be like, all right, you just accept it. And we go through that same formula, whether it's with our, bosses or supervisors or anybody. So many people just don't ask, because they just think that the employer's job is to just recognize us, and they'll see us and they'll just move us up the ladder. But again, if you don't know how to communicate it, then you're probably not going to get those opportunities. And the person that knows, that's informed on how to get those opportunities, are the people that are probably going to get those opportunities. And again, it's our choice whether we want to wait in life for everything to happen or make it happen ourselves. And so information is so powerful when used appropriately. And so what we're, again, trying to do is to give you exposure of a broader vision, not just a selfish one where I want to raise and I deserve it. No, a one where you could actually create value for the company and understand, okay, if I'm in service to that company, and if I can help the company make money and I can make extra, then it's a win-win situation. So we're trying to help you think of win-win situations where we're trying to reduce the risk for employers, show them the opportunity, show them the value that we have as an individual to be able to showcase, yeah, we could do something for the business, or I'm willing to take this chance. Are you willing to take a chance on me too? Can we both come at it in a place where we could attempt to do something and win together? How do I eliminate, that risk? How do I not say, hey, I deserve this 6-figure salary before I even do anything? So again, coming at it from a neutral place, from both perspectives. And when we come at it from, a two-way streak, or again, multiple perspectives, then we can create better situations where everyone's comfortable making that decision together. Not an inward, but outward trajectory.
And that's why I like having different guests on, right? Different perspectives, different opportunities, different ways of looking at things. And we might not always agree on the different ways of coming to the table, but at the end of the day, it gives us some knowledge, it gives us some lessons, and it's a lot of takeaway, right? You either take it or you don't take it. You're like, oh, this is not my cup of tea at all, or this is my cup of tea, and thank you for giving me all these tools and tips. Daman, what final message would you give for the listeners out there that are looking to get ahead in life and work in the sales and unemployment and all that, and a little bit more about your business as well? Just spell out the website for the audio listeners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the main piece of advice is, when you are listening to this conversation, what's happening inside of you? And then I think that's the true message that you want to tune into. Am I ready for a change? Ask yourself some of these questions. Am I ready for a change? Am I ready for the next step in my life? Am I ready to start opening up to learning about some of these opportunities? What's happening inside here? Again, it's really listening to what's happening in this space and what's attracting you. Even if you followed us this long, then there's obviously something that's going on inside of you. And, thank you for watching as well. But again, looking really inside here and saying, hey, what's happening? Right. And that's the thing we really want to tune into. And I really believe, as teachers or educators, we're really just bringing out your thoughts to the forefront. Everyone, I believe, already has a certain skill set, has certain values, has certain traits that they've come into this world already with. And your environment has created, different aspects of different learnings that you've learned across that way. So it's like, am I ready to start utilizing some of the stuff I already have inside me to move to that next step? And even if you want to learn more, am I willing to open myself up to learn a little bit more, to get a little bit more in life? And so that's what I want people to walk away with, is really like that inner reflection, and listen to that voice, because even question, like, where's that voice even coming from? And
And
then
could
if
you,
yep,
go ahead.
Was there something specific that
No,
you
no,
wanted to
no.
know?
There was just a glitch. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So basically just ask yourself that question. I mean, where's this voice coming from? Where is it trying to guide me to? And then just know that, hey, we're a safe place that you could actually come to and watch and ask questions, and we'll try to help you along that journey as much as we can. Just know that you're loved and supported. And that's the main message that I would want you to walk away with. And maybe, who else needs this message? Who else do you know maybe looking to move forward in life but feels stuck? And so again, we're just trying to help you figure out what's happening inside of you, and give you a couple solutions for where you can start. And hopefully, you can follow that journey along the way. And again, we have those weekly episodes, and we have the worksheets. Even if you're still unclear, then yeah, maybe listen to a few episodes, try some of the worksheets out, and see what happens then.
And can you spell out the website for the audio listeners, Damien?
Sure. I'm glad you have it on the bottom corner here, but it's logisticsplural.com. So LOGISTICS sales SALES.com.
Well, thank you so much, Damien. Thank you for joining me and bringing this to the table. I always love having these conversations where we just never know where the tea is going to take us, right? Because everybody thought, oh, Mrs. got a class going on. And there's no class tonight, guys. There's lots of lessons and lots of tips and tools and a lot of strong tea to take away. So I'd love to hear your feedback on Tea Time of what you guys got from this episode. And check out logistics.com. Check out those episodes. And if you need to, reach out to Damien and reach out to his team. He has an amazing team as well. Thank you guys for bringing in your questions and your comments and your support. Miss Liz could not do this without you guys. It's a teamwork. We're just going to do a quick recap of what tonight's tea time was, and then I will see everybody next week with 7 tea times. So next week is a busy week, so check out the tea times next week. What an inspiring and empowering conversation today. Damien, thank you for bringing your passion, vision, and commitment to education to the Tea Time table. Your work demonstrates that learning does not end when school does. In many ways, that's where the real journey begins. Today and tonight, we explored entrepreneurship, mentorship, communication, business development, ethic, leadership, and the importance of making practical education available to everyone. One of the strongest takeaways from tonight's tea time is this: knowledge changes lives when become accessible. Through logisticssales.com, you are helping remove barriers and providing opportunity for individuals who may never have had the access to the tools, guidance, and mentorship needed to reach their potential. Your journey from struggle to awareness to mentorship reminds us that our greatest challenges often become the foundation for helping others succeed. As we close tonight's tea time, I leave everyone with these thoughts. What could happen if we focus less on competing with one another and more on teaching, mentoring, and empowering those around us? Because success grows strongest when it is shared. Thank you, Damien, for your commitment to ethic, entrepreneurship, practical education, and creating opportunity that extends far beyond business. Until next time, keep teaching, keep empowering, and keep serving real life tea, one cup and one conversation at a time. Tonight's takeaway: education is not about collecting information. It is about creating opportunity, building confidence, and empowering people to change the direction of their lives. And I'll see everybody next week, and we'll do this all over again.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.